expressed during the shir is not necessarily the views of the Kail, the Rosh Kail, and not even my own. Whatever we say is really derech limud, and we're going to proceed with, of course, the having in mind be nice ba'il with those in Klal Yisrael facing now an unprecedented Sarah, and Mitzvah the Shav Yeshua. The Mishnah Gittin talks about this halacha that you're now to be paid the shvuyin yoser mechdei dmin. You're now to redeem captives that were taken by Goyim for more than their worth. It says the Mishnah ei paydis hashvuyin yeser al ktei dmin mitnei tikkun ha'olam. Because tikkun ha'olam we cannot redeem them more than their worth. There are three shittas in the Rishonim. What does it mean yeser mechdei dmin? Rashi and the Ritva say that means that more than they will be sold as an eved in the shuk. Other Rishonim say we're Mashayr according to how chashav or how much an usher person is, that's how much you should pay for them to be paid them, and not more than that. And the Chuvas Radvaz is a third shita that says that you shouldn't pay for a Yiddish shavoy more than you would pay for a Goyish shavoy. The Gemara has a chakira. What does it mean that we're not paid the shvuyim yesech mechdei demin because of tikkun ha'olam? What does it mean tikkun ha'olam? The Gemara says one side is because of duchta de tzibura, because we don't want the tzibur to go into poverty because they have to be paid the shvuyim for such exorbitant amounts. So in order that it shouldn't be too much of a financial burden on the tzibur, therefore we do not allow a redemption of captives when they're demanding more than the amount that is appropriate for pidyon shvuyim. The Gemara is another side is because the loy garbi laisi tvei. The tikkun ha'olam is that we don't want to encourage the goyim to get into a habit or a cycle of capturing yidden for pidyon and then doing it again and again, in order that we shouldn't come to a situation where to encourage them to be meisei nefesh, to go ahead and kidnap or take hostage yidden. So therefore we have a takanim, if they took an island, you cannot pay for a shavui more than their worth. Now, which side do we go? Like from the Gemara, it's not mavur, it's a bayda leif shita. The Gemara doesn't say achra, which is the ikar reason of why you're not paid the shun yesech made the main. Halach lamaisa, the Rashba, the Torah, and the Rambam, they go to Mahalach that the reason why you can't be paid them more than the main is because of the svar of delay garber laisid tvei, in order that they shouldn't be the goyim shouldn't be encouraged to continuously take yidden into captivity. A nafkamina between the two tzaddim is that if somebody has a family member or someone's an usher and he wants to pay the entire amount for the pidyon, so if you go like the svara of that we don't want to bring the tzibur taniyas, so if one person's paying the entire amount, it's not going to be on the tzibur, the pidyon, so therefore he could pay the money and do the redemption by himself. But if you go with the svar of the Gemara of the garba laisi today, that we don't want to encourage them to do this in the future and do more kidnappings, therefore even if one person wants to pay for it, we will not allow him, in order that we shouldn't come to the situation of a new reality that they're always kidnapping yidden. So now it comes to the situation we have in Eretz Yisrael when with negotiating hostage release with the Yidden who are taken captive in Gaza. So if theoretically the Israeli government would be doing some financial exchange, giving money to redeem captives, or even if they're giving over terrorists in exchange for people, then you do not have the svara of duchta de tzibur, not bringing the tzibur to poverty if they're doing the redemption in one of these ways. But if we go to the other svar that we're chayshish that it's going to encourage them to go into this habit of kidnapping yidden, so then perhaps we do have the svar of that the legar b'laisid tvei that would not allow us to go ahead and redeem them. But l'chayr it's up for discussion. You could say as far that these bloodthirsty Arabs, that since that they will take any opportunity to kill yidden, to kidnap yidden, and do anything to disrupt life and Yishuv Eretz Yisrael, therefore even if we wouldn't go through with the deal, they'll anyhow do it. So there's no deterrent for them to kill or kidnap yidden. Therefore, maybe it would not be applicable the Sar the Gemara of Legar B'laisid Tvei. That's far as that we shouldn't encourage them and make them continue doing what they're doing, killing or kidnapping yidden. And since they'll do it anyways, whether or not we do make an exchange with them, therefore perhaps would be mutter to do a pediyah and redeem these captives. Now, there is basis for this svar in a Tosfos in Gittin Daft and Ches. Tosfos says that b'shas chorban, it's not shach the svar the loy gar b'lai sitvei. Tosfos says that during the chorban, when Yiddish blood was hefker, and the guy were able to do what they want, and they were in control of us. So during such times, we don't have a svar of that we're encouraging them to do kidnappings and killing us, because they're doing it anyways when we were in their control during the Shas Chorban. So to over here, you have a svar of, it wouldn't be applicable as svar of B'lei Gar B'lai Sitvei, because they can do it anyways. They have no deterrent, and even without encouragement, they don't need encouragement to do this to us. And they're still going to go forward with kidnapping and killing you whenever they have the opportunity. So the Chor we have a makar from Tosfos. And this svar also saw brought in from Rav Yosef and Yahya Omer. He also says a similar svar. Now, we're not getting involved in this shir with a different shaila of that if you exchange the security prisoners and murderers in exchange for the captives, that might be the public at risk, and that itself will be a sakanah nefashos. So that's a different shaila, it's a different shir. It gets to the siga of Shem ben Bichri. As previous mishmar we gave in the past, you could see the Khal's website KZNB for our last year, the Mar Makayim and Shem Bichri, and it's a whole different topic. Now there's another svar Tosfos says in Gittin, an exception to the halacha that to the Isser being paid shvuyim is that when the sakanah nefashos. When there's sakanah nefashos, we don't apply the tikkun ha'olam, and you could be paid the shvuyim when their lives are in danger and are worried about them getting killed in captivity. Now the Meiri also says this as far somewhere, like Tosfos, that by sakanah nefashos there's no tikkun ha'olam, and of course this svar would only be shaykh to live captives, but if they would be dead already to be paid to their bodies, you would not have this exception to the halacha. You would not have an exception to the tikkun ha'olam, because this far is by pekuach nefesh. If there's no pekuach nefesh dead already, you would not be able to do the pediyah. Now the Ramban in Gittin is chelek and Tosfos, and he says that there's no exception when it comes to even pekuach nefesh. He says because any shavoi, anybody who's taken captive, is in a match of pekuach nefashos, and therefore, even if their life's in danger, that's where we're saying the halach in the Gemara that you can't be paid the yisech de'emein. The Gemara is going with in such a situation. Every shav is a massive pekuach nefesh, and still the Gemara says you can't be paid them yisech de'emein. Now, the Rambam also goes with this mahalch of the Ramban that there's no exception even by pekuach nefesh, because the Rambam says ein lecha mitzvah gedayla kipidin shvuyim. There's no greater mitzvah than pidin shvuyim, because the shavui is in a matzav of pikuach nefesh, of sakanah nefashos. And then, 2 halachas later, the Rambam says that there's an issur being paid the yisech de'emein. So within the context of sakanah nefashos, says the Rambam that you're not paid the shvuyim yisech de'emein. So it's clear from the Rambam that we don't even have an exception by a case when the sakanah nefashos. The Piskei Tshuva brings the machlokes achronim. How do we paskin? Do we go like Tosfos, or do we go like the Ramban and make an do we make exception by pekuach nefesh? So he says machlokes achronim. There's a Knechs Yecheskel brought down in the Piskei Tshuva that says that this exception we say that by sakanah nefashos that you're allowed to be paid them is only shaykh in the Gemara's Teretz that we're not paid the shvuyim out the svar of duch the tzibur, that we're going to bring them to aniyas. He says it's not applicable according to the other tarets that says that the reason why not paid the shvuyim because of the legai b'lai sitvei, that we're worried that we're going to encourage a cycle of them taking captives. Why? Because he says al duch the tzibura, so we'll say sakanah nefashos will override the duch the tzibura. It's more important to save more lives than to save Yiddish money. Yiddish lives are more important than Yiddish money, so we'll save more lives and we'll live on less. But when it comes to this other svar, the Gemara, that we're encouraging them to go ahead and take do more kidnappings and take more people into captivity. So he says, "Fakert, if in a massive sakanas, if they're putting them in a massive sakanas fascists, and you'll be paid to them. They'll do it again, and they'll threaten to kill people. They'll kill people into captivity, and they'll do it again and again because they know that you'll pay whatever it takes to go be paid to people in a massive sakanas fascists. And then by us giving into their demands, doing more pidyanis and more redemptions in this situation, it's going to create more sakanas nefashis because they know that you're going for these deals, and therefore they're going to take more people into sakanas nefashis and taking more shivuyim because you're capitulating into their demands." So according to this svar of the Knesset Cheskel L'chayram, we will not be able to go forward with the deal to go ahead and redeem hostages in Gaza because that will go ahead and put them into make more sakanas nefashis, make more matzavim that they want to do kidnappings. But if the svar was saying that they never even had, they don't need the encouragement, and then they'll never be deterred from taking Yidden into captivity. They'll keep on doing this mahalach of taking people, kidnapping and killing Yidden wherever they can. So it wouldn't be shaykh in this situation the svar of the Knesset Cheskel, and it wouldn't be mutter to be paid to them despite the fact. Now, even though there's a Ram that says that a person is ma'alim einav who ignores the matzav of pidin shvuyim, he's over leisam dam riyacha. He's over a lav of leisam dam riyacha. And we know that when it comes to a lav, a person has to give up all of his money in the world in order not to be over a lav. So it's a little shver. How could wouldn't pass for the Rabbanan to make a takana that you shouldn't be paid when it's too much money? If we know that if you're being over a lav and by a lav you're supposed to give up all your money, so how could it pass for Rabbanan to make such takana that we're not paid the shvuyim? Yes, they demand you're supposed to give up all your money not to over a lav, and over here there's a lav that leisam dam riyacha. So there's a chavis yair and a prima godim that both say this din of you're to give up all your money and not to buy your lav is only by a lav of kumba aseh, but a lav by sheval taseh. There's not negated the din of you have to give all your money not to be over. Therefore, we could have a takana of not to be paid yescha didn't mean because we're only being over. Not only, but you are being over leisam derecha only b'sheval taseh. Now, there's a very interesting psak that Rabbi Yaakov said many years ago that whenever the Arabs take Yidden hostage, he says it's an act of war, it's an act of Muhammad they're doing against us, and the response to that is a mechemes mitzvah. When we respond to their bigleichem against us, it's categorized as a mechemes mitzvah, which the Ram defines as any battle we go out to Lemishia Yisrael mi'at tzara. If we're coming to save Yisrael from an oppressor, to save Klal Yisrael, then that's considered mechemes mitzvah. And the halach is by mechemes mitzvah, you have to defeat the enemy. Do whatever you can to defeat them, and you can't make any compromises. It would be us to empower them, to give them money, to give them their people, their terrorists, that which they could use as soldiers to fight back. So any support, any empowerment that you're giving to the enemy would be us during a shas mechama when we're doing mechemes mitzvah. Because of this psak, during the Maisa when there was a TWA flight hijacked with many Yidden on it, amongst them was her Putner and his mishpacha, Rabbi Yankel Drillman, and people from Chaim Berlin wanted to collect money and do a pidyon shvuyim to redeem her Putner and the Yidden over there. The Meiser Rabbi Yaakov didn't allow because of this svar that since the Arabs are being leichem against Klal Yisrael, they have these motives of destroying the Yishuv and Eretz Yisrael. They're doing a macham against us, and this is a mechemes mitzvah that when we're fighting back, and any money we give to them, anything we give back to them is supporting their cause, and we can't compromise during a shas mechemes mitzvah. Now there's another svara. I did not see it documented anywhere, but I heard there are those that say a mahalach that when it comes to a prisoner exchange of soldiers that were captured, it goes into the category of pikuach nefesh, whether it's live soldiers or even it's dead soldiers. The svar they give is because it's necessary to give a boost for the combat morale of soldiers, that they have to always know that there's an army or a government that's backing them, that if they would ever get captured by the enemy, that the army or the government will always redeem them at any cost. They have to know that there's somebody that has their back, and in any situation when they're in battle and they get caught by the enemy, that their government is going to come and save them. And only with this assurance they could go into battle and do the job of a soldier. Otherwise, they're going to be deterred from ever going to war, and there's not going to be these soldiers to fight the war, to protect them. So, because of this svar, there's an idea that there's a situation of pikuach nefesh if we don't save them in all situations. So even if it's a dead soldier, we'd like to go ahead and make a deal and negotiate with the enemy in order to go ahead and do a pidyon to keep up this morale amongst the people in the military. Now, one could say, could argue in this far and say that no, that there are so many people that will be motivated to join the army despite the fact, whether because they have nationalistic motives, Zionistic motives, they feel that they're being matzla Am Yisrael by being leichem mechama. So one could say that people anyhow will join the army and will fight even if they don't have this assurance. So this is a svar that yesh l'fakfek. You can hear me kan l'kan. Taisvis in Gittin brings a ma'aseh about Shul Hanani. Shul Hanani once went to Rome, and he heard that there was a child that was in the jail, and somehow he heard details about him, and he was margish that this child would has certain kishroinus and has a potential to be a tremendous Talmid Chacham. Taisvis Lashon is actually that. And he said, that this child, he was sure about him. Rabbi Shul was sure that this child would become a tremendous Talmid Chacham, be a leadership in Klal Yisrael, and he made a shvur that he's going to be paid to this child at all costs. So Taisus asked the kasha, how could he be paid him? We have a halacha that ain't paid this shvur yesim b'chdei demein. How could he do this? They were demanding a tremendous ransom at the time, and how is it mutter for Shul Mechanani to be paid to this child? So Taisus answers, Shani Hassam, because he was muflik chachma. This child has a tremendous chacham, and therefore he had to be paid to him. The Torah has a little different nusach. He says, even if he's not yet a Talmid Chacham, and you see his matzliach and he has potential to become a Talmid Chacham, you could be paid him for whatever it takes, for any amount. The Tiferes Yaakov says a hesber that the reason why you could be paid a child for any cost, and there's no restraints, because even if he's not right now a Talmid Chacham, if you're not paid him, he'll never become a Talmid Chacham. And if we're paid him, there's tremendous potential for this child to become a Talmid Chacham. And since by being paid him, you're changing the course of this child's life. This child has unlimited potential. He can reach unfathomable heights in Limud Torah and his avodas Hashem to such dargas arein l'shayir. Therefore, any mechir, any price they give, is considered damav, is considered what is the worth of the child to pay them. So says Tiferes Yaakov that a young child he has total unlimited potential of what he could achieve. So since he has unlimited potential of what he could achieve, he has this unlimited worth. It's totally unlimited what this child is worth. So therefore, will be any shear, any amount they give will be kedei damav. The Chavetz Chaim says in Avos Chesed that we're not chayshish to the takana of the tikkun ha'olam, that we're not paid the yesper damav, you can't redeem more than the worth when it comes to the opinion of Talmid Chacham, and we're paid to them for whatever amount it's asked for, because when we're sayeh Talmid Chacham, ein lecha tikkun Tikkun ha'olam yoyser mizeh shemimenu yoytzer b'Yisrael. There's no greater tikkun ha'olam than b'masiyat Talmid Chacham in his Aliyah B'Torah. There's a famous Maisa, quickly say over, we'll end with this, about the Ram in Rothenburg, that there was a libel that they made against him, and the Duke demanded a tremendous, took him into captivity, put him to a castle in a city, in a province called Igzaim, and over there he demanded a tremendous ransom, and the Talmidim of the Ram in Rothenburg wanted to redeem him, and Ram in Rothenburg didn't let. He said that it's Asr, you can't be paid the Yisp Damav. So the Marshal, when he records the story, he asks, how could it be? How could it be that the Maram Rothenburg didn't let them? He was a Talmid Chacham, and the Allah is Talmid Chacham. We go all out, and we pay whatever it takes. And even if the Maram Rothenburg wanted to Prava Nivas, but the Maisa, it's at the expense of his Bittul Torah and the Bittul Torah the Rabbim, and how much he could have taught. Being out of jail, then he was in jail. He couldn't reach out to the masses and do Rabbat Satorah that he was doing on the outside. Then when he's in jail, so how could it be that he didn't allow them to be paid him? So he said it must be because the Maram made a cheshbon that if they're going to be paid to him for exorbitant amounts, this will encourage the goyim and the different governors and the kings to go ahead and get into a cycle of capturing all the Gedolei Yisrael. And it's going to be gairim, a tremendous reboy of Bittul Torah from Klal Yisrael. And he said, better that we might in the Bittul Torah from Klal Yisrael and that I should remain in captivity than them taking advantage of the tzibur and taking all the Gedolei Yisrael and Mabit Torah into jail. And by like this, just me, I won't be on a mass level. The Maisa, the end of the story was that he stayed in jail, he died in jail, his body was in the prison for many years until his Talmud the Rosh arranged with one Gvir to pay the ransom. The Gvir had a tonight that he'd be buried next to Maram, wherever they bury him. And Kachava, that's what they did. This Gvir was paid him, and he got buried next to the Maram. That was the Maisa. Yeah.